Morning, Saturday 3rd of June, FA Cup day, Man City versus Man U later. I'll be watching that. It is a beautiful day. I mean, just gorgeous. It's meant to be like this all week, which means I'll get on with some progress. Slow start this morning. I've come down, I've cleaned off the deck, so that's all ready to go. I've had a good clean off down here. So that gap there is going to get filled in with some cement, just to make sure there's no water there. That'll actually be under the floor of my shed, so that's not so bad. Made a start on this. What am I going to do with this corner? So the shed's going to come back to that corner there. I need some sort of wall here. I'm going to divert that. But yeah, I think I'm going to put a post. Once the deck's down, I'll put a big post in that corner, and that'll give us something to build to. I'll put it outside the frame, so Norman, if he comes, has got something to build to. This side's looking pretty good. I've cemented all that in. Yeah. So I got some feedback on the deck thing that we built last weekend. So people looked at my videos and said, you know what? If you have that plastic on the bottom, it's going to create an air gap. Moisture's going to get trapped and it's going to rot the bottom out. Now, I still think it's a good idea to have a plastic barrier there. So what I've decided to do, I've got two problems to fix. One is that they fall down like that. And one is that I don't want to leave that vapor barrier, that air gap for moisture to get into. So what I've decided to do actually is fix both with one go, which is I'm going to knock all of these down flat against the bottom there. And then I'm going to drill, I'm going to put battens so that they can't fall back up, flip it over and have the plastic between the plywood and the frame, and that way air gets in underneath to the beams, but the moisture can't go past into the plywood, and there's no air gap for it to settle and sort of get moist. So that'll be good. So I'll do it that way. But first things first, I'll do this morning so that they set is start getting these bricks down. I've settled because that's quite rough where I've done that, and there are uneven bits all around the deck. I've decided I'm going to get some, I'm going to make myself some mortar. I'm going to put a mortar bed under each brick, just to make sure they're dead level, and they're not going to move, but you know, it'll make sure they're level more than anything else. And then if I've got any spare mortar left, I'll fill in along there. I'm going to probably concrete that up to the level of at least that shed there. Yeah, so I've got enough to be getting on with before the FA Cup. Bugger, miscalculated. So yeah, there are 7 rows, not 6, so I'm a bit short. Blast of the pavers. I'm back. It's 20 past 1. I've lost the whole day really. Connor's shown up to give me a hand, so he's busily knocking down the stuff into the frame for me. I'm going to make the mortar, and I'm going to start putting these bricks down. Well, that's the first row in. I'm not going to get any better than that. It's in contact with every brick and dead in the middle. I'm back from the football. Man City on for the triple. Like I discussed this morning, we've pushed all of the thing squash against the plastic, against the damp-proof membrane. I've brought out 3 things of plywood there, which are going to be the floor, just to give myself, I know I've got a flat base that I'm pushing against now. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to do too much, I've had a few beers, but I think I'm going to put the battens on, and that way in the morning all I've really got to do is flip this thing over and carry it into place. So me, Jan and Sam just lifted this and carried it. If we did that easy, slow tomorrow. Let me show you the bricks. So this is where I got to with my bricks. All lined up. Oh, I seem to be missing one at the back corner there. Anyway, I'll put that in because I've got spares here. But yeah, basically what I did was use a bit of cement to lift the odd brick where they were slightly low. I filled in that old sort of trench thing that ran along there. I'm going to concrete that piece when I've got some spare to do that. But yeah, so basically I put a long piece of wood on, checked for level. Where things were a bit low, I basically put cement under them and brought them up so they're all in contact. Yeah, so they're all lined up. Everything's square as far as I can tell. I know tomorrow I can lift the base onto there and yeah, put the screw the plywood on, right? I've bought a big tarp as well, so that will go over it, and that will keep it nice and dry. But yeah. So to make the battens, I need about, I've worked out I need 60 strips. They don't need to be very big, like maybe this, but I like this. So I conveniently have a pallet that was lying around behind my shed. I picked it up from somewhere. So I'm gonna get my table saw out, and I'm just gonna cut a bunch out. See how we get them. So there we go. I have to use my table saw. That pallet died for a good cause. I've just pushed a load of the slats through and created a load of battens. They like, you know, the cost of wood right now. If I'd have gone to B&Q and tried to buy battens that, you know, to do that job, I reckon a strip of wood, inch wide, 20 feet long, cut it into little sections, I reckon you're into 30, 40, 50 quid before you know it. So pallet died for a good cause. Now what I'm going to do, this is this glue I was talking about. It is amazing. I mean, you glue stuff with this, it stays glued. And what I'm going to do is glue and stick a brad nail in it. This glue on its own would hold it. The brad nail's more about just keeping it in place while it dries. That is every piece has now got a batten, front and back. That is, use that really strong glue plus brad nailed on. They are not going anywhere. Last thing done for the day. The spray can thing just went crazy. It wouldn't shut off. So I quickly ran around and did all the holes. But they're all sealed up now. So everything is battened down. Everything is sealed up. That is as good as it goes. Only 15% of the heat goes out through the floor. That is as good as it's going to get. So there's the other thing I have done today. Now, I'm no expert on this stuff, but it looks pretty good to me. I ran long bits of wood sort of this way and this way. It's as level as I'm going to get it. It is definitely 10 foot wide. It is 12 foot deep, same as that. That is a big square box. That should flip over and go on there. I would be shocked if I got any movement at all. I cemented in, kind of like a weird little gap there, so I cemented that in. I'm going to want to concrete that in, I think, but we'll get there. I'll probably move those out. I'd say I clean those out from in front of there because they were just mud piled in behind them, and I need space to do whatever I'm going to do with this. So, but I'll move those first in the morning. And yeah, pretty productive day. I mean, you know, this one I also went out and watched football and had a few beers. So what I'm going to do now is a beer, shower first, and then a beer, and I'm going to get the hot tub. Speak to you tomorrow.